1 minute until showtime. Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's John Wood of the Football Pick'em Podcast, and you're listening to Dave in the City on Locks of the Week Radio.
Coast to coast, internet sports talk, Locks of the Week.
Doc Rivers continues to time and time again not get it when it comes to getting. Oh! Let him play!
Yeah, everybody have a show today. We had snow today, show today, show tomorrow.
I don't know if you want that on your credit card bill. You know, saying the WB notes on it. I mean, like,
Your dad could look at that and be like, Dave, you have something to tell me?
that's the story that they still.
It's unbelievable!
You have your LeBron in the fillet. It's like, do you really care about the James Jones at the end of the bench against Hayden?
Maybe the board, the MikeFrancisco.com, was just ahead of its time.
Pioneers.
Exactly, yeah.
Pioneers, if you will. Yeah.
We listen to this guy sit at a desk picking his teeth every day and all the dumb stuff he does. But it's not like we're changing the dial. We like
Nope.
Mike. You know, we hate Mike, we love Mike, all that back and forth.
Bingo.
Unbelievable.
San Antonio Spurs, Dave. What do they say about them?
They're boring. They're
They're boring!
From Los Angeles, this is Dave in the City, brought to you by Locks of the Week Radio. Now, here's Dave Medina.
Good evening, sports fans, and a pleasure to have you here for the big Wednesday show. Good to have you with us from Santa Monica tonight on a day that could be changing the face of the NFL. What a night, what a night. We were scheduled to have Let's Go Mex join us in our first hour, but I haven't heard back from him in the last 3 days, so I have no idea whether he'll actually be here or not. So we'll carry on our own. And then we have the podcast picks coming up at 10:30 Eastern Time with the picks from Ron in New Jersey. Say hello to Ottis, Andy in Seattle, and John in Connecticut. Tonight it will be just Oatman joining us for that piece, as everyone else is on to other things at the moment. You know, throughout the year we're going to do the podcast picks, and you know, some people will make it. Sometimes everybody will make it, and then some nights you may have one or two people will make it. But we will always have the picks, and you can go to @ditcal to see what the actual picks are. We will always have them up by Friday, usually, of the week, definitely before the games start, and you can keep tracking the results as we go along. We'll give you the season standings at the bottom of the hour, but right now we have some really big news to cover. As you know, the NFL seems to be getting outed lately by Harry Levin and TMZ and the rest of the media for basically gross negligence of a developing Ray Rice domestic assault, which occurred in an Atlantic City casino within the elevator some months ago. And it was pretty apparent that he had brutally beaten his then fiancee, now wife, and I know the circumstances to that happening are always, or certainly not sensible on paper, but women who get involved in an abusive relationship, it's very tough. It's very tough. I mean, I've been told, but I've heard from various people that a woman in an abusive relationship is always going to claim herself as the victim. It makes sense, and so you can't necessarily get mad at her for staying with the relationship because there's fear. There's fear is what's going to happen if I quit. I mean, is he going to come after me? Is he going to stalk me? Things like that. I didn't really think about that, but it's all kind of true. So anyway, that's probably what that's about. But but this was a really gruesome incident, and I guess what surprised me was two things. One, that the NFL's been trying to basically cover this whole thing up and just let it go, and it's a lot like the concussion issue. You're just trying to pass it off and just let it go. Hopefully, people will stop thinking about it. And it's just a question that makes you wonder why. Why would such a thing? Why would they want to why would they want to bury this in the sand? Don't you think that they would have wanted to get out in front of this and eliminate Ray Rice from the league? It's just very, very a little puzzling and a little troubling to think that they really didn't take very much action on this for a league that loves to put lawsuits on other organizations for trying to take their name. They have a hissy fit and sue you for $1 billion if you use the word super and bowl together in your advertising. And here they are just trying to sweep under the rug a very serious issue. A little puzzling. But it's not so much the fact that they've been trying to brush this under the rug. It's more of the fact that the NFL and Commissioner Roger Goodell have been completely negligent of going after the facts. And especially in the case of Ray Rice, who really wasn't that good of a player anyway, at least this year, sorry, PD, but he really isn't that good right now. I mean, last year, he was terrible. So, really, what would the objection have been if the NFL went in and said, all right, you're done. We're just going to take you out indefinitely until the facts play themselves out. This is the sort of thing that they did with Aaron Hernandez. This is the sort of thing they did with Michael Vick. I mean, now, Michael Vick was kind of an easy one because he was going to jail anyway. But he was suspended indefinitely for basically the period that he was in jail plus like another couple games of the NFL season. But nevertheless, they took action. They did not take action here. And that, I don't know, it makes you think. It really makes you think. I mean, why were they really? That's just crazy. So, the first tape came out, the one where Ray Rice and the girlfriend, soon to be wife, came out of the elevator and she was unconscious. Unconscious. How bad? I mean, how bad do you have to hit someone for someone to be unconscious? Insane. But it happened, and people were outraged naturally, and NFL's action was to suspend him for 2 freaking games. 2 games? Really? After all that? I mean, we said it at the time. That was a big joke. And then this video comes out on Monday, really confirming what I think a lot of people already suspected. Showing Rice throwing a haymaker at her fiancé-to-be, and let me see if I can pronounce his name correctly. It is Janice Palmer, or Janae Palmer. Yeah, Janae Palmer in the elevator. I mean, how gutless can you be? But more gutless than that was the NFL not going after him. I don't get it. Like, what are they? I know that it's going to be a big black eye for the NFL, but trying to push it under the rug is way worse. And in today's age, in today's media, man, you are going to get served when you do something like that eventually. They tried to brush it under the rug with the concussions, trying to laugh people and sue people out of their way. But this time around, they fought a force that even the NFL could not match. TMZ. And, you know, it's weird because, like, I was kind of anti-TMZ when it first came out. Today, I love it. You know, I think the clarity that it brings and the accuracy in its reporting is great. The underhanded means in which they get the information, yeah, that's a little ridiculous. I agree, but they're a private company. They're not being run by the government or anything. So, you know, if whatever it takes, I suppose that's what it's all about. It is puzzling why the NFL would do that. And then they claimed that they did not see the video of the inside the elevator video. One. This, of course, winds up not being true according to data we got today from the Associated Press of all places, where they have reported police sent the NFL the Ray Rice tape in April. In April. So NFL all week has been saying that they did not see the full video of the punch and the assault. But then you find out that a law enforcement official, this is according to the Associated Press, yes, the Associated Press, which is usually just a place for generic headlines, but they sent this report that law enforcement officials sent a copy of Ray Rice to an NFL executive in April, that according to their Twitter page. Now, to corroborate a story like that, you would have to actually see the full AP press release. Well, that did show up, and we had that linked, and I took a look at it, and it says that a source played a voicemail from April the 9th that came from a phone number at one of the NFL offices, in which a female voice says the tape was received, expresses thanks, and says, "You're right, it's terrible." That ends a quote. The source could not tell AP for certain if anyone at the NFL offices had watched the video. This is a report continuing. And he had no further contact with any other NFL employees. The source was unauthorized to release the video, but shared it unsolicited because they wanted the NFL to have it before deciding on Rice's punishment, which, as we remember, the initial punishment was a measly 2 games. And whether that was existing NFLPA agreements or whatever it was, I mean, common sense, man. It's ridiculous, because then they suspended Josh Gordon for a year, and then they updated their policy, and then they made it 6 to 8 games, and then like Ray McDonald for the Niners got suspended or got docked the same 6 to 8 games for domestic violence after the fact. But it really came down to this. Did the NFL try hard enough to get the evidence they needed to make their case against Ray Rice? It doesn't seem like they did. And it also is about this. Did the NFL actually see this video of him in the elevator? For about a week and a half, they said no, and now we're getting reports both from TMZ teasing that there's evidence that they did get it, and then this AP report, which basically corroborates that account, saying that they got it. So either these two guys with lots of money and years, maybe even decades of reputation on the line, are lying, or the NFL has got the biggest massive cover-up story in years. Roger Goodell, if you really were behind this and you let this one pass, man, you pulled that. I think at best you pulled a Paterno. Joe Paterno knew about all this terrible child molestation by Jerry Sandusky, and he let it go. Why? He wanted to protect his image. Same idea with Goodell. He had apparently the NFL had the evidence, and this recent information says that they even had the tape, the inside tape, not just the outside tape. And somehow, from all of that, they decided that they didn't really have enough to go on to really do something serious. But then it comes out without them really knowing, breaks on the internet, gets spread like flies all over social media, and all of a sudden they are running on their heels. And then the Ravens, after all this, not before, not when they had the chance, not when they first broke, after after all that, they decided to take him, to cut him for real. I mean, these guys are ridiculous. That's really as simple as that. I'm not going to go yell and do this big speech, but that whole thing was ridiculous. And so I'm actually pretty happy today because finally the truth is coming out as I sip a little bit of this Angry Orchard apple cider. I sipped this cider today because I'm celebrating. You know, years and years of the NFL trying to push their image, push people out of the way, kick people around, and keep people from the truth. It happened with CTE. It's happening here with domestic violence, and people this time just said, "No, we're not gonna take it, and we're gonna just call you guys out." And I mean, the semantics to getting to that point, I can't speak to because I don't know every single detail of the story, but the idea that people really want to upend Goodell, I think it's great because everybody just is sick of the guy. He really has been much more about image than structure, or more about style than substance. It makes sense to think that because he really has been all about the brand, the shield, but not about the game and the people. And so to let this go, pretty heinous. And yeah, I mean, I'll compare it to Joe Paterno. I don't have a problem with that at all. I mean, it's the same idea. You knew that this was happening. You knew and if this information becomes accurate, they knew the extent to which it was happening, and they let it go, and they didn't do enough about it. It's just really as simple as that. I mean, they didn't do nothing, but they certainly did a laughable response to the whole thing. And it does not seem, as has been suggested by the Dan Lebitard show on ESPN Radio. And listen, I know that people think he's a clown, but he's right about this. It really doesn't seem like they have been ahead of the curve on this at all. It's like they wait for something bad to break down, and then they have to backpedal, and then they react, and then they're spinning the wheels. It doesn't seem like they have really had any kind of say in this whatsoever, and now they've completely lost control of the story. So if Goodell really did have that information and did not act on it, ooh, that's bad. I mean, and then to say that they didn't have it when they actually did, ooh, that's so bad. That is so bad. I mean, you're talking about dismissal. And I'll tell you what, sorry to cite ESPN again, but the first guy to really point that out, the fact that negligence of the situation could lead to dismissal and then telling a lie about it on top of that, first guy that I heard point that out, Tim Hasselbeck on the Herd with Callum Coward, and I think that was Monday. That was Monday. It's Wednesday today. That was frickin' Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, out here. It was 11 o'clock over there when they were doing the show. But Monday at 8 a.m., 8:15, no, it's like I say 8:17. It's like Monday at 8:17 in the morning, he makes that claim. And I was like, you know what? He's right. I'm thinking, you can't have information like that, be the head of the freaking league, and not do something about it. Not something serious. And so now we're starting to find out that this is in fact the case. It's harrowing for him, but it's vindicating, I think, for the rest of us who have seen the NFL just bully and laugh people out of their way, like women who would go out there. And somebody, I think, cited McKee, the exemplary doctor, the brain neurosurgeon, or the one who does really good brain surgery, incredible, really brilliant mind. I saw this. I saw a Frontline special on the NFL's. The NFL against concussion victims and CTE, and it was a really hard-hitting special, and it was like a 3-hour show. But I was watching the whole thing, and I was like, man, this is pretty serious. And I remember her saying how she had the facts and even showed them that, and then guys wouldn't believe it because she's a woman. I was like, wow, are you serious? And I mean that's just so wrong. It's incredible. Because it's like you're being shown the facts. You're being told this is what's happening, and this is the reason, and this is the evidence, and you're just going to say no because she's a woman. Oh, man, and that was before Goodell's time, but, man, that is so bad, and you knew that something was going to fight back. Maybe this is their moment. Maybe this is for all the McKees out there and the Hasselbecks and even the Plumbers, the ones who have been victimized by domestic violence. And I'm sure Ray Rice isn't alone. It's been happening to, I'm sure, all over the country. It happens to everybody. I've also cited a couple others who have actually been in the act on Twitter. Seaman Varlamov in the NHL, and that doesn't get covered enough. I'm sorry, I'm telling you. I mean, that's ridiculous. That guy is a POS. And Floyd Mayweather, it's pretty close because, I mean, he's had a long, like a decades-long history of beating women and dehumanizing them, and somehow gets celebrated in the media for his boxing efforts and his other efforts. So that whole thing is a little puzzling in itself. But I'm not going to press too far on the Floyd Mayweather thing. I would probably have to read more about it to get the extent, because I don't know how hard anybody really hits anybody in this whole affair. Ray Rice basically was in a boxing match. I mean, that was the guy is slime anyway, but the guy's slime right there. Not anyway, but he definitely is. I don't know. I mean, that's unbelievable. It really is. Now people are like, well, how come they're not outraged at other people doing it? Why aren't we getting mad about that? Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. Why aren't we getting mad? But there's a difference between like what we see in the like we see headlines for like people doing such a thing and then actually seeing it. It's one thing to say, well, these guys have been charged with domestic violence, domestic assault, whatever. But when you have the proof, that just makes it much clearer, and that's why I think people can be much more understandably upset in a situation like that. So the NFL here has just been complete clowns here, the whole thing. It is just remarkable how little they have done to address the situation, how flippant they've been towards the whole thing, and now how awful they're getting embarrassed. Awfully, they're getting embarrassed right now by the rest of America. And I think that the guys who defend the NFL, like the super NFL homers, are probably trying to bury their heads in the sand too. Like they don't want to face the fact that the NFL is going to take a huge hit from this. But they are. I mean, this is a huge hit, and I think their popularity among women may take a hit. I'm not saying it's gonna. I'm just saying like there's a real chance of it. I mean, how can women really get behind the NFL the way that they have not, the way that they've been the way that they've handled this? I mean, what does that say to women? Yeah, I mean, I'm with that. What does that say to women? Doesn't seem that they're giving them the proper respect, does it? Really is something to think about. Now, I often don't go into social issues here on the show, but this has gotten so big. We're talking about a potential ending of a commissionership, and I can't remember the last. It's been a while since any commissioner has been taken out of the league because of such a gross incident like this. I'm thinking it's not like it's never happened though. I think I remember. Let's see. For a commissioner though. I mean, not an owner, not a player, a commissioner. I mean, that's pretty serious. So, trying to cover your butt all this time, well, someone's going to be out there with a microscope to really get you exposed. And so, what can I say? This is a good day. This is a good day. And most people, even the biggest NFL fans, they hate Goodell anyway. I don't think people just cannot stand the guy. He seems like a real phony. I think a lot of people feel that way about him. Now, me, I mean, I don't think he's a real. Yeah, he is a real phony. I mean, he definitely is. He certainly is more about the marketing and probably a lot less about the actual, the actual well-being of the league and the game of football. That's my impression. Been that way for probably 5, maybe even 7 years. So a moment like this is definitely refreshing. Now, we don't know whether he actually will get dismissed for this. I'm sure he'll have an impressive legal team to back him up if it goes to court. And as a matter of fact, he, as I would expect, is standing strong behind his own conviction. And as recently as 4 hours ago, we got a note from the Washington Post that Goodell is adamant he won't resign in the wake of the Ray Rice video firestorm. All right, well, we will see about that. Now, they're going to have a lot of work to do if they're going to clear their name, especially if some of this information from TMZ comes out for real, unless that is the information, what we saw from the AP. But TMZ report confirming it, wow. I mean, that's pretty much it. And that's pretty much it. The reaction to this situation from people around the NFL has been very mixed. I think most people have been on the side of pretty much lambasting the NFL for not doing more, and lambasting the player Ray Rice for being such a terrible human being. But you do get those guys out there who aren't all in with it, and I think people have been kind of, not that they're saying that they support what Ray Rice did, but they're not all in. They're like, oh, it's a tough situation, da 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 da, and they don't actually, say anything into NFL, and it's tough. And I understand it too, because they are a function of the NFL. I don't understand. I mean, I understand it, but maybe I don't agree with it. I'm like, I would be more like Tim Hasselbeck in that situation than say, who was it that was sort of being more non-committal about the whole thing? I'm trying to think. I don't know, but one guy I think I was thinking of was like Harbaugh. you see the actual elevator moment, and he's like, "Oh, I really made me think." Really, you had to wait for them to actually see the video to actually get a reaction. I mean, okay. I mean, I guess it makes. I mean, I guess you got a personal connection and everything, but what? All right. I tell you, this is going to be a very interesting next 2 weeks. I am just simply, I just simply don't know what's left to come with the NFL. I mean, he's really gotten himself into trouble here, Goodell, and it's going to be really, it's going to be it's going to be fascinating to see how all this shakes out. It really is. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a break as I celebrate the potential dismissal of one really egotistical, pig-headed commissioner of sports. I will celebrate with Angry Orchard tonight. Free advertising. Here's the bottle. Angry Orchard. You've seen the commercials. They're very good. It's very good. We'll take a break. And when we come back, we'll be joined by the Oat Man for our podcast picks here in the city. We'll have the Junk Band at the top of the hour and much more to come. Stay with us. This is Dave in the City. At it here in the City Locks of the Week Radio. Good to have you with us. It is just about time for the NFL and NCAA podcast picks coming up in the city. So as we start our second week of the picks, let's give you an update on how last week's picks did. In first place, Ron in New Jersey at the top of the standings with a 3-1 week. He really smashed it with his 2 NCAA picks, and he also got one right when he selected the Chargers to cover the spread. Andy in Seattle is in second place at 2-2. He rebounded nicely with the 2 NFL games. The Eagles, and I believe he had one other. The Eagles game in particular stood out to me though, so he did well there. Oatman was 2-2. He split I think he split the college and the pro picks. I don't have the total results on me, so he's in third place and a really second place tie with Andy. And in fourth is John in Connecticut, 1-3, but I'm going to defend him here. One of those losses was that Michigan State game where they were up by 17 points, and they got their butt kicked in the second half. Hard to defend that, really, because you got it right. The pick is basically right, and Michigan State completely spit the bit in the second half. And they still were covering until the last, 3 minutes of the game. That's a frustrating moment. So I don't think John was really that far off. I mean, it says 1-3 in the standings, but it was much closer than that. And so he will try to rebound with his picks, which we'll announce in just a bit. So we'll break this down like we usually do. We'll do the NCAA picks first, and we will do the rest of the picks, the pro picks coming up right after that. So here we go. On to the picks. Let's do this thing, and let's bring in our friend. Say hello, Ottis. Oatman, welcome to the show. How's it going tonight?
Sorry, Dave. I was just letting Christopher Mad Dog Russo give you my quick thoughts there.
Okay, very well. So what's news with you, my friend? Are you
Not much. I was just watching the good old Mets put a ribbon on their game tonight. 5.5 games out of the wild card, making their late push. Nice. Going to be a magical September on the way to the playoffs.
Mets
and I'm just going to enjoy
it. I love it. Mets magic, baby. Aren't you guys closer to your playoff spot than the Yankees right now? Like closer to a wild card? That's what I heard.
Somehow I think it's even, which is completely outrageous in itself.
Wow.
But yeah.
Unreal. That's that got to feel the magic, baby. And then Capuano got lit up. I'm told tonight. I didn't see the game, but I'm getting the reactions. I think they tell the story. All right, man. So not a bad week last week. I mean, 2-2 is good because you didn't lose. I mean, that's huge. And so you have a nice foundation to get a leg up. So since you were kind enough to call us tonight, let's give you the first word, and we'll start with your 2 college selections. So, Oatman, let's hear them.
Okay. Well, with my first college pick, I'm going to go back to the team that gave me my win last week, and I'm going to take Missouri at home against Central Florida. I think the line I see right now, they are giving 10. They played well last week. I thought I didn't join you guys last week, but I thought that line was really low. I think they were only laying 3.
Yeah, 3.5.
I think Ron may have had that also, the same game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a low line. I thought maybe I was getting sucked into something there, but they played very well. Had a little bit of a slow start. Came on strong and really just closed the game out. I like them at home. So yeah, we're gonna keep it continue there with the team that got me my first win. UCF didn't play well in their only game so far against Penn State. They lost that game to them. So I like Missouri this week. Laying 10. We'll give it a shot and hope they can keep a nice little run going for me.
Yeah, I mean they're a good team. That's a pretty good team, and we'll see how it goes against some AAC competition. All right, how about your second pick?
My second pick, we looked a couple different places. I like a couple of those huge spreads. The Baylor spread is it's enormous, 35.5. So you're gonna stay away from some of those really big spreads and actually take an underdog here. Gonna take Eastern Carolina, getting 11. I have the line at 11 against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech played really well last week. That was actually the game that I lost them against Ohio State. But Ohio State, it seemed like Virginia Tech was trying to give that game back. And I thought, while watching it a couple times, I thought Ohio State was actually going to get back in the game, which would have been kind of ridiculous the way the game went early. Obviously, that didn't happen, but a little bit of a letdown from them against Eastern Carolina. Even though they're on the road, getting 11, I like them in this spot. I know their game, their last game I had up here before. South Carolina 2 weeks ago. Or no, I'm sorry, last week against South Carolina. That was another game I was watching very closely, and they covered that spread, 14.5 point spread against South Carolina. So I like the way they played last week. I think we'll get a little bit of a letdown from Virginia Tech off their game, their big win. So I'm going to take East Carolina getting 11 here.
Great. All right. Well, good luck to your 2 college picks as we lock those in. Let's announce Ron in New Jersey's 2 college selections. He will start with Louisville giving 6.5, and I'll check and see who they're playing. As we do that, I'll also announce that Louisiana Lafayette is his other pick plus 27 points. Reportedly great offense, but Bo Wallace is was always prone to getting those turnovers. So I can see where he's going with that. That's an interesting call. Now I got to figure out on Louisville football, see what they're up to, and they're playing Virginia. Okay, that's a good pick actually. Have they even played since that UCLA game? No. But you know what's going to happen? People are going to overvalue Virginia, and they'll probably end up saying, Virginia will cover 6.5. But I think Louisville's really good, though. I think they're pretty good. So, good picks.
Yeah, but I mean, Louisville put a beating on Miami.
Yep.
Yeah, Ron knows his stuff better than I do, so I'll take his word for it.
Yeah, I will too. He's very good with college football, absolutely. So now to get John in Connecticut's picks. He has selected TCU minus 13.5 against Minnesota, and he has University of South Florida plus 1.5 against North Carolina State. So going with some maybe less household names in that particular affair. But that's pretty good. I think these are Minnesota and NC State are pretty weak, so those are good. So TCU minus 13.5, South Florida plus 1.5. Andy will give us our picks via the text in a matter of hours or days, and we'll post those on the blog a little later. So now let's move to the NFL picks. Oatman, you have the first word.
Before I start with the NFL picks, I'm going to just say that you can write this down. Penn State minus 3.5. Andy's pick over Rutgers.
You're probably right about that. Yeah. Oh man, oozing.
And I know I can for sure give you one of his NFL picks, but we can get to that in a little bit.
Oh baby. Okay, let's start with that. Let's get your NFL picks and then see how everybody else shapes up.
Yeah, I actually liked a lot of NFL games this week. Some of the spreads caught my eyes. Some of the favorites. There were even a couple of the underdogs, but I'll give you two of them. And one of them is mainly because of an injury that I saw today, and I will hate our friend Yachts, as everyone calls him, except for me, on me not picking his Chargers, because I'm going to take Seattle minus 6 in that game. Whenever you're missing your center, it is not good. And with the way Phil Rivers runs up to that line and screams around, that does not bode well against Seattle defense to me. I know they're at home, but Seattle looked really good last Thursday. Their offense was clicking. The defense is always going to be phenomenal. So, congratulations, Yachts. My pick is Seattle.
This is the second week in a row that Seattle's going to play a team without their center. Last week it was the same thing. Bulaga, I think, is the name of the guy from Green Bay. He couldn't play, and they started like a rookie, and he got his butt kicked in that game.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Interesting, isn't it? All right, and how about let's see about the second pick in the NFL.
My surest bet actually in the NFL I made yesterday, and the line has changed significantly since then. So I'm actually not going to pick it for this contest. I have a feeling we'll see it later, and if we don't, after we get the rest of the guys' picks, I'll let you know what it is. But for my second pick, I'm going to pick another road team.
Okay.
We're going to go with Detroit getting 2.5 against Carolina. I don't know. I like the way Detroit's offense looks. Obviously, Calvin Johnson is a freak. Even the other guys on the offense, the two running backs looked fairly good. They didn't get much action because of the early lead. And the Giants can't really. I don't want to talk about them. Anyway, the Panthers. The Panthers, I feel like, got a little overvalued with the way they looked this past week. If you listen to people talk about them prior to Week 1, it was not good about the Panthers, and I think we'll see more of that team than the team we saw in Week 1. The Tampa team was, I feel, a lot worse than people thought, and Carolina just happened to look better based off of that. I know they have a really good defense, but even a really good defense, I feel like, is going to struggle with that Lion offense. And the Lions' defense is, I think, what really could be the difference for them all year. That defensive line was just all over Eli, and probably because of the Giants line, but when you can put together Sue and I can't think of the kid from BYU's Ziyansa and a couple of those other defensive linemen, they are just unbelievable at rushing the passer. Cam Newton's first game back, he'll probably be a little rusty. So I'm gonna lean to the Lions in that game on the road, getting 2.5.
Oh, man, I'm actually going to give you an extra half a point, and the reason is because Ron in New Jersey has Lions +3. So for the podcast purposes, I will actually award you the extra half point. So if they win by, like for example, if they get two, it's basically the same thing. So that you can push though. So it gives you a little bit of an advantage. So you both see eye to eye there.
I will take that half point.
Nice.
Yeah, I will take that half point every time.
Beauty. All right, so Ron's other NFL pick to this week is Cardinals -2, and I did not get sometimes I get the picks without getting the indication of who they're playing. I don't have the.
Well, I can definitely tell you who they're playing. This is the game I was talking about earlier.
Oh boy!
And it's the New York Football Giants. I went online yesterday, or maybe the day before, to see what they had the spread at that time.
Yeah.
And at the time, I saw it was Arizona -1, and I couldn't make my bet any quicker because I knew that wasn't going to last, because the Giants, big fingers all over, directed at me, but that looks like a little bit of trouble. I'm gonna worry about my own team as best as I can, but that looks like a little bit of trouble, if you ask me.
Oh man! And let me take a guess here. Is that the Andy pick you have predicted for his NFL picks?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that would be the one.
A potential triple checker on a checker. I will. We'll see if that becomes official. Triple checker. John's picks to round us out tonight. He has the Bills +1 against the Dolphins, and he has Bills +1. Wow, okay. Patriots -3.5 against Minnesota. So Bills +1, Pats -3.5, and I do think that Tom Brady will play that game, even though people have talked about how he might be hurt. I think he's fine. So that finishes us up tonight. For that, we have some extra time tonight because since the old man is our participant and others were not in the mix, we have some moments. How you have a moment to chat about other things going on in the NFL. Good luck to all the picks, and we certainly are looking forward to another competitive year. It should be a lot of fun this time around, and we'll get some competent selections along the way. So I look forward. I'm dying to see whether Andy picks that pick. He's at the Mariner game right now, watching the irrelevant baseball that is the Mariners, and I mean, I'm being sarcastic.
I wonder if it's raining there.
Yeah, Cano can enjoy his dollars, right? Being worthless.
Yeah, enjoy the rain, Cano. Enjoy the rain. Enjoy losing baseball for the next 10 years, Cano.
Yep. Get ready for it. Oh, man. So, again, good luck to the picks. Our podcast picks will also be posted at DidCal. I'll have the link for you after the show tonight, and we'll go from there. But speaking of picks, we have a huge upset brewing, but it's not in sports. It's in America's Got Talent. And I won't talk about it now because the show hasn't even aired yet here on the West Coast, so we'll just have to wait. And I'll mention that maybe tomorrow on Twitter. Anyway, very good. So the NFL is underway, and who knows, the commissioner might actually be the one that needs to win the most. I mean, this guy, he has been a complete fool during all of this. I mean, you've been listening to a lot of shows, Oat Man. I mean, what is the general reaction you've heard regarding the commissioner and the NFL's essentially gross negligence of the Ray Rice situation?
Yeah, I think like the audio, the earlier version of the audio I played before, the clear question would come from Christopher Mad Dog Russo, SB. I mean, what is the NFL doing here? What is the NFL doing?
Yeah.
Because it's really just almost comical. I mean, it's not so much, like, it's just everything, one on top of the other. Like, you can maybe understand, like, and it's very hard to do, but, like, let's just say, for example, Roger Goodell did not see the video. Let's say 3 months ago he didn't see the video. Okay. Someone in the office saw it, they didn't pass it along, whatever. So you mean to tell me that yesterday, when that video hit, he didn't scour the NFL offices and make damn sure that that video wasn't in that building, that no one had seen it? Because, I mean, that's just outrageous. Like, how could you even think to not do that? I guess not think of that. It's really mind-boggling, the fact that, and it's comical, almost an hour after his press release went out that they have no knowledge, this, they never saw a video, blah, blah, blah. Boom, the NFL saw a video. Like, I mean, you can't make it up. It's completely ridiculous. I also, there's one other thing that I just wanted to add that hasn't been talked about that much.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed to me, maybe, I don't know if you had a comment on this, it seemed to me that it was, like, completely ridiculous that ESPN aired that video at halftime.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of those videos that in every news article that I saw about the incident, it said, like, viewer discretion advised. Like, don't watch this if you don't want to. And then at halftime of Monday Night Football, ESPN just airs it. Like, without giving anyone a chance to look away. It just seemed really strange. It didn't seem like that made sense. And I don't know if that's been talked about anywhere, but that seemed like a strange thing. It's another level of kind of the disappointment, the, like, nonsense that's going on, but it's just another thing that doesn't add up. The whole story is just bizarre.
I almost had to check. I mean, I was wondering if anyone else noticed that. I think that was the halftime of the first game too, not the second game, which was late at night. The first game, and I was like, what, did that really? I think I was just more shocked than anything. Like that aired in the clear. Like, seriously, they didn't, like you said, they didn't have a warning or anything. It just, like, boom. It's like, whoa. Yeah, I was a little taken aback by that too. That is funny. Like, people hadn't really brought that up. Maybe just we're so desensitized to the whole thing by now, or maybe everybody saw it. But you gotta imagine, like, what if there were, like, little kids in the room watching the game and then they showed that? You know what I mean? Like, that's where I'm kind of. I have to agree. I'm kind of a little off-put by the whole thing as well. Good point. Really good point. Speaking of nonsense, how about Chris Berman trying to explain the thing during their game? That was comedy, man.
First of all, I don't think I'd be okay with Chris Berman trying to explain tic-tac-toe, let alone him trying to go in depth on something like this. I don't know for what reason. I mean, I'm on the East Coast. For whatever reason, I watched almost that entire game, and Chris Berman did not know the difference between, like, a delay of game and a false start. He constantly confused them the whole night. I forget who he kept saying was calling a timeout or was calling a timeout so they could decide if they wanted to review a fumble. I mean, I guess it's once a year, but I feel like Checker and Panther watching him call a golf outing or whatever you call golf. I felt like those two guys just, like, screaming, like, what the hell is Chris Berman doing on my TV? Let him make his boom sounds on Sunday Night Football Countdown. I don't need to hear him calling a freaking football game.
Whoop, whoop. Oh, that guy! I don't get it. It's they've been trying to get somebody else to do it, but it must be his insistence that he does that game. It must be, like, his thing. Like, he's probably asking them to do this because it's like, I don't think anybody at ESPN would just go out of their way to put him in there. So it's just, I guess they're just hoping that enough people are asleep so that they don't notice. But that was just awkwardly bad. It's so bad, and I actually like Trent Dilfer, but he drags him down too. Like it's rough, man. That was rough stuff last night.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree completely. I was going to add that he's okay. Trent Dilfer when he's calling some of those or when he's on his post-game panel, but yeah, Berman just makes him like lower himself down to just an abomination.
It is. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Yeah, that was really one for the books for the wrong reasons that night. And the game too. Like one of these years you're gonna see the Chargers in a spot like this, and they're actually gonna win the game. But once again, they go up by double digits and they lose in the fourth quarter. And I'm like, how many times is this gonna keep happening? They changed the coach, they changed personnel, they changed the venue. It doesn't seem to matter. It's just like I was mesmerized by how it all happened again. And as our friend Yacht said on Twitter, are we really that surprised? Probably not, but at the same time, we're like, it's still unbelievable to think about. So you just got to feel for Charger fans right now.
Yeah, it's also kind of amazing that, and rightfully so most of the time, but Tony Romo gets absolutely destroyed for what he does late in games. And meanwhile, on the West Coast, Phil Rivers has been doing the same thing for just about as long. And it kind of goes a little under the radar. I mean, if you're not a Chargers fan, you really aren't seeing all of this. The fumbled snap that cost them that one game, the snap on Monday night cost them another. He's got that Romo not it factor that's really kind of causing him to just crumble late in these games. And they're both really good quarterbacks, but they have those same, I don't know what you could even call it, non-intangibles that just constantly come back to bite them. I
agree. I heard one time a guy say that Tony Romo finds ways to lose. And I laughed so hard at that, but it was kind of accurate. It's like he's so talented, but he finds that play at just the wrong time to blow a game. And Rivers, like you said, the botched snap, that would have probably sealed the game. It was like under 6 minutes to go, and they were at an easy field goal, and all they needed to do was take a snap, and it was entirely his fault. It wasn't like the snap was weird or anything. It was right at him. And it was just, for me, it looked like it was just a lapse of judgment. So, yeah, that's, I don't know. It's just a frustrating moment. But the Chargers will then pull wins out of a hat, and they'll probably finish like 9-7. So that's a Charger fan for you, you know?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't have too much sympathy for because I got to watch the Jets every year.
Right.
But, yeah, no, that's I guess what the Charger fan has to go through. I guess it would be another thing if they're getting blown out, but it's those late one score games that they're just constantly falling in, and it's gotta be rough on guys like or Utes, as I would call them.
Oh man! So let me ask you this: like, I was thinking of this question anyway. But if you look at what's happening with the Chargers last 5 years and the Jets last 5 years, would you rather be a Charger fan or a Jets fan? Like, would you trade places with a Charger fan?
I don't. I'm just trying to think of where the Chargers have ended up. I guess because the Jets did go to those 2 AFC championship games. I'm trying to recall how far San Diego's been. I don't think it's been that. It's been like that, but also they've had the quarterback, so you're not continuously looking for one of those, which is always a fun game to play.
Right.
I don't know. I think just based on the two AFC championship games, I guess I'd have to say the Jets. Even though those two games were both painful in different ways, because they had chances to win both of them with Mark Sanchez at quarterback, which is shocking in itself. But yeah, no, I think I gotta stay. I think I gotta stay green.
Cool. Yeah, I think the consistency helps, meaning they don't have as much heartbreak on a week-to-week basis. I mean, every team has had heartbreaks, but I mean, I would be really frustrated knowing that you're that close to winning games that often. Same thing with a Cowboy fan, and I think after a while you just almost give up. So I totally get it. Like I probably would choose the same thing in that spot. So. Well, that wraps it up. But like maybe a quick look. What do you think about the Jets at the Packers? Is that a game that worries you? Are you worried about that game?
I mean, it would be tough not to be worried, especially with them coming off a loss. Coming off a win is just as bad. But I don't know. I feel like I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think they'll keep it close. I was looking at the spread today. I saw it was 8.5, and I tweeted over at our pal Checker that he's going to need to talk me out of picking the Jets with the spread by Sunday, because I feel like it'll be a close game. I mean, the Jets have a good running game. They have half a defense. The secondary is questionable, so Jordy Nelson's going to run amok. But I think it'll be a close game. I'm sure the Packers will probably pull it out at home, but I'm hoping that they Jets can cover that spread and keep it a close game.
Cool. I love it. Well, good luck have a fun time with the NFL weekend this week, and good luck to your picks again. Oh man, thank you very much for joining us here on the program. I appreciate it. Have a great evening.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
All right, bud. All right, let's say hello to Ottis. Right. And that gives way to America's favorite moment in sports talk podcasting.
Do the dance. It's time for random questions. Let's stop in the city with Kevin on the case.
Here we go. Another week of random questions and a much better phone connection tonight because we are not using the services of Skype. Tonight we have, for the first time in our show history, a direct connection to Blog Talk Radio. It's furnished by the blogtalkradio.com site, and it's called Direct Connect. So rather than going through a liaison, even a phone or Skype, we go right from the website. And so far, it sounds fantastic. It's in my ears. It's clearer than I've ever heard it before. Hopefully, you you listeners out there are hearing the same amount of clarity on this program, and we certainly hope that. And it really is great, and it just seems like it's a lot easier to work with. So, with all that ready to go, let's hear the clear voice of Kevin on the Cape. Welcome back. How's it going tonight?
Dave, you sound like Billy D. Williams right now.
Again, well, I drank some. I don't know.
Smooth, clear, confident, sexy.
Yep.
You're like Billy D. Williams right now.
I like it. I like it. I like it. To have you back, and I'm sorry about last week. I really am. That was some of it's out of your control, but certainly we do the best we can to put it into our control. And I think I've made an arrangement. I made actually several adjustments, like coaches do. You know, coaches have to adjust when they're down at halftime. And I think this adjustment here with the Direct Connect is great. So Billy D. Williams, I'm honored. I mean, that guy is suave. That guy was suave back in the day. Oh man. Who is the suavest man you know, Junkie? Like besides Billy D. Williams, you know any other guys that are like this guy's smooth? Any others that come to mind?
Ooh, good question. You know, this is a different. You know, he wasn't like sort of Billy Williams is classy. You know, he's kind of you always picture him in a suit. But this other guy that comes to mind, it's really quick. He can look great in jeans and be cool. But I always thought Paul Newman was just such a cool guy. Smooth, almost like smooth without being smooth. You know, he was just a cool dude. Whether he was, you know, playing pool, riding a horse. I don't know. I think I'm sort of sounding a little gay right now, but Paul Newman was awesome.
I remember I've seen some of his work on movies and so on, and his salad dressings. It's pretty smooth. I mean, the whole operation's fantastic. Rest in peace, Paul Newman. He was great. He really was. That's a good answer. It really is. It's probably a better question than anything we're going to get from CFCL tonight. So if you have a question for us, tweet it at @ditcow, at DITCOW on Twitter, or blogtalkradio.com/DaveInTheCity, blogtalkradio.com/DaveInTheCity, and we'll run those questions out tonight. We're not going to do a random questions immediately, but I just thought I'd give you the links to get us going. So the summer is coming to a close. I don't know what the temperature. I keep asking about temperature, but is it starting to cool down in Massachusetts?
Yeah, it's like 70 right now.
Oh, okay, great. So that's some definite progress. Not freezing yet, but 70, so it's on its way. Okay, cool. So you went through a really rough period at the fish market. I mean, it was really busy during July and most of August. What's it like now? It's September, so things are changing. You're getting into the fall. What is the scene like at your employment place?
I hate September.
Oh, really?
September is my most hated month.
Ooh, really?
Only because, don't cry for me, you know, there are worse jobs in the world. However, our other locations, you know, run through like Columbus Day, some through Oyster Fest in mid-October, and I lose all my kids to this, you know, they go back to school and stuff. So September is the worst month for me only because I have to work all the time, nonstop, which I've already done that for 4 months, and I don't get any relief, so I can cherry pick the best people from our other locations when they close in October. So September sucks. It's slower, don't get me wrong. The business is like a third, but I'm the only one there.
Wow.
So I'm still busy, but I love October. So I'm not going to be, you know, a party pooper. I'm looking forward to October. I can get through this month. There's only 3 weeks left. I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean we're one week in the books already, so I think we're in good hands. So pretty cool, buddy. I'm glad to hear that, and hopefully it'll say. Oh man, hopefully it will be October before you know it. I like October too. October is a fun month because there's a lot going on in the world and in sports. Everybody talks about October, NFL in the middle of the season, and fall classic, and the baseball playoffs. It's a pretty cool time of the year, literally and figuratively.
Absolutely.
This is not related to anything, but I was celebrating.
It may be the best month.
No, I think it might be the best month though, because like you get it all. The weather is actually ideal. It's not that hot. It's not that cold. It's just right. And
right.
And sports are, in a lot of ways, I like June more in sports terms because I think I'm more emotionally invested in Stanley Cup playoffs and the NBA playoffs. But for a lot of people, the football and baseball hitting their stride right there in October is pretty good, and I would agree. It is really good. And it could be really good, really, really good if, say, the local team, both local teams even, the Dodgers and the Angels, end up making a big run in the playoffs this year. So they're looking good for that. I mean, I don't know about the Angels so much. Their pitching staff, I'm still not sure about them. They have a wonderful lineup, and their bullpen is pretty good. But I mean, C.J. Wilson is terrific, but then after that, it's like, nobody that kicks down the door. So I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. Like, I haven't really followed them closely enough to really know. But I would have more confidence in a team with a better pitching staff. But on the AL, who's that team going to be? Oakland's probably, I don't even know if Oakland's going to make it at all. I think they're already out of the division. I don't even know if are they going to make the wild card at this point. See, there's a lot going on there. And by the way, you're around Boston. What do Boston Red Sox fans think now of that Cespedes for Lester trade? Do they feel like they won out?
Out here, as I've probably said before, I don't know, they kind of fall in line. I think they think it's a good thing. They got a guy for next year who could be hit in the middle of the order. They were going to lose, they weren't going to do anything anyway. So what was really Lester going to do for the last 2 months of the year?
Right.
They were sort of resigned to the fact that they weren't going to sign him anyway. So the Boston Red Sox owners, they do a good job of kind of, feeding little things into the media. You can tell that you're not really reading news reports. You're more or less reading press releases.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I think everyone's. I mean, they're not even. Trust me, Dave. In the last 10 days, the Red Sox aren't even on the radio. They're not even. No one's even talking about the Red Sox. It's all the Patriots.
Well, I got to say that's refreshing, though. They're realistic about the whole thing, so that's cool.
Yeah, so they're sort of looking to next year, and they kind of. I mean, the stadium has actually been pretty full from what I've heard from my friends in Boston, but more because they're looking to go see the younger guys.
Cool. Well, that's a good attitude, I think. Red Sox fans, you mentioned it to me already, but they are definitely true to their team, so that's cool. Really cool. All right, so now as far as the Patriots, I'm wondering, Gronkowski looked all right. He didn't look great, but he's still coming back from the injury, and I think he even caught a touchdown pass last week. So whether his ankle holds up, hey, we'll find out. People have been talking about how Tom Brady is questionable, though, and I'm like, is that a little overblown, or is he really starting to show his age? I mean, you're close to the situation. What's your feel on that?
Tom Brady?
Yeah, I mean, like, is he really that hurt? I mean, I know that Belichick will probably toy with the media and list people as questionable if they're a little bit hurt, but is he? Don't you think that he might be good enough to play next week anyway?
Oh, absolutely. He's not going to sit out from a calf injury.
Yeah, I didn't think so either, and so I never really took it that seriously. And he's playing Minnesota. I think he'll get a little bit of a break. I mean, I guess my question is this, Junkie. Okay, are people overreacting to the loss to Miami? They really shouldn't, because Miami plays them tough anyway.
Everybody overreacts to the loss in Week 1.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Really? Oh, it's always right. Week 1 overreaction. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, there are certain cases where your team sucks, but
right.
People who lost, like the Bears and the Pats and the Packers. I mean, come on, Jesus Christ, your season is not over. I mean,
You'll hear it.
Even if the Packers go 0-2, I mean, this is still one of the better teams. Like, just cut it out. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
People who overreact are the people who have Aaron Rodgers on their fantasy team, or the people who bet them to win the over. Like, those teams will be fine. Plus, in the NFL, here's the thing about the NFL right now. Everyone talks about, it's the greatest sport, which is fine. It's the most popular sport. But it's not. The sport itself, there's not that many great teams. There's like 3 or 4. I mean, you can go 0-3, and you can still turn it around. You win 8 games. You're going to be in the playoffs. The sport in general is a lot of mediocre teams.
Right.
As much as people don't want to hear that, it's not like there's a bunch of great football out there. Actually, if you watch football, I mean, I watched a little bit on my little iPad there, and I went out and watched the 2 games. It's not a lot of great football. It's actually pretty bad if you actually look at the quality of play. It's not getting better.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think these things are relative. I actually think it's improved upon where it was maybe 15 years ago, although there are a few things about football back then 15 years ago that I would have preferred. Like, I liked, it seemed like that people were better at running the ball back then, and people were more consistent with it. But
that's true.
Yeah, and people, I mean, defense was kind of, it was all right. I mean, defense was really was better, I think, in the 90s. But you know what? I mean, I think there are a lot of highlights to be had. Definitely a lot of good players in the league. I would say that maybe you could say it's spread out somewhat. There's some teams better than they really are because they don't have a lot of actual players that, besides Andrew Luck. I'm thinking like Andrew Luck, and then what? Reggie Wayne, he's old, and then you have Mathis, who's not even there. He's kind of gone for a while. And T.Y. Hilton, no. I mean, so, yeah, I mean, it's really like one guy who's really consistently good on that team out of 50 guys. So that kind of speaks to your point. But in what I see also, though, I see some teams with some good, like a bunch of good players, like Steelers. They got Ryan Shazier out of the draft. They have Le'Veon Bell from a couple of drafts ago, and he's terrific as long as he's healthy. Roethlisberger, very good quarterback, and Antonio Brown, give or take a kicking to the face, he's quite a good wide receiver. So I think there's a series of good players on that team. It just depends on who you're watching. You're in the East. I think your impression of the league the football being so bad, you probably have a lot of East Coast teams there. The NFC East is terrible this year. It is it's terrible. I mean, even the best team in the division fell behind 17 points to the Jaguars at home. So that East division is not great. And I think you could make a similar case for the East and the AFC. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, we'll have to watch some more football. It's early, too. You're not going to get the best football in week 1.
So early.
Very early. Very early. I mean, you're absolutely right. You could 0-3 is kind of an extreme case, but 0-2, a lot of teams come back from 0-2 to win the division. It's to me, it's like I really don't even think it's you even remember weeks 1 through 4 a whole lot when the season ends. Like, you think, oh, remember that week 1 game? No, I don't remember that week 1 game. I remember the week 16 game when they won the division. So you just shouldn't take it. There's absolutely no reason to take it that seriously. None. Although your Giants, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's about it.
Yeah, they're lucky. Yeah, they'd be lucky to go 5-11 probably this year.
I don't need 15 more weeks of that. I think it's pretty clear that they are not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's come to the point where I'd actually almost wish they would go 3-13 or 4-12 and just blow the whole thing up.
That's smart. That would
then do like a 7-9, 8-8 kind of thing.
Yeah. No, absolutely. If you're gonna be bad, you gotta be bad all the way. You'll get a good draft pick, and exactly, you can break it up and then start over.
Yeah, get rid of the code, get a good draft pick, just start over.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely. Very awesome point. All right, so I think I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good right now, Junkie. Let's start our random questions. We have some regular questions, so we'll take those first. And if you have a question for us, those of you listening tonight, at Ditcow, at DITCOW on Twitter, and we'll take those questions and the ones we have through the course of the hour. When we're out of questions, we will go back to the CFCL survey and try to complete it as best we can tonight. So we'll start with this question from In Blue Heaven out of Pittsburgh, PA.
Nice.
Big Steeler fan. Well, I think he's a Steeler fan. He's as good as a Steeler fan to me. IBH, what do you think about the game against the Ravens coming up? You can answer in chat. I think they've got a really good chance to win that game. The Ravens are really toppled over right now with the Ray Rice situation going down. They lost a game against their other division rival, the Bengals last week. They are probably not in a good spot, and I think the Steelers could exploit. They could exploit Joe Flacco's erratic play at quarterback. I like the Steelers even though they're on the road, so we'll see. Okay, next, here's a question. What's your favorite thing about fall? What's your favorite thing about fall, Junkman?
Ooh, that's a good one. Favorite thing about fall? I mean, well, it's not football. I don't know. I like the cold weather. I don't like the freezing cold weather, but I like that kind of chilly night where you got to put your sweatshirt on. I mean, we're lucky out here, so we got the beaches and everything. I think my favorite thing about the fall is work here tends to die down. This is more of a personal thing. It might not be like a universal cross-country thing, but out here, my favorite thing is we don't work as much, so we get out a little early. You know, we go to the beach and have our little bonfires, and you get your sweatshirts on, and everyone's bringing some food and stuff, and you kind of reconnect with your friends because everyone works like complete insane people during the summer. So my favorite part about the fall, in October especially, is I get to see my friends again and, you know, other business owners and stuff, and we all cut out early and, you know, hang out, do a little beach kind of bonfire thing, or we meet at some bar somewhere. And everyone tells their stories from the summer, and they share laughs and drinks and stuff. So it's the short answer. That was a long answer. The short answer is just probably reconnecting with my friends out here, which you guys are different. You see your friends all the time. Here it's different. You get crazy. You don't see your people, and then you see them in October, November. So that's probably my favorite thing about the fall.
I love it. Yeah, I remember some of that last year too. I mean, like you said, I can keep in touch with friends all the time, but always connecting when they're in the fall. There's something special about that. So that's a cool story, Junk Man. My favorite thing about fall is Thanksgiving. I am a food guy, so Thanksgiving is the Super Bowl of food. And I find Thanksgiving to be my favorite thing about fall. And I think I put Halloween like a close second, although Halloween means a lot less as an adult than it did when I was a kid. So Thanksgiving for me, my favorite thing.
Obviously, your answer revolves around food. We knew that.
Every time. Exactly. I agree. So let's quickly recap the answer to the question about the Steelers-Ravens game tomorrow. It comes from In Blue Heaven. So I asked him what his thoughts were about the game. He says, it depends on whether the defense shows up. If Flacco has 60-plus pass attempts, the Steelers are in trouble. And I think it's true.
60?
60. 60. 60.
60?
Well, I mean, he's exaggerating. But the point is, if he starts passing the ball all the way down the field all the time, he's throwing all over the place, that does not bode well for the Steelers defense. The key would be to limit his pass attempts. Probably take away the deep field. That would be the most important thing because that's where he excels. Long passes going way downfield. Cover the deep man, and I think they'll be fine. Really, I think for me it boils down to covering Torrey Smith and then trying to see how much gas Steve Smith has left in the tank. That would be what we would look for. And it really does boil down to that. Running game, well, the guy that used to be their running back, all sorts of trouble right now. He's out of the league. And the guy that replaces him, Bernard Pierce, you know, he could be good. I mean, I'm not really totally all in with him either. So they're going to rely on passing.
So the guy from the Ravens was in the news this week? Really? The running back?
Remember that guy that used to be on our fantasy team? And
that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Mm-hmm. Well, he's
out.
That
guy.
Yeah, no, forget him. He's out of the league now.
He's
so
out.
He's gone.
Get him out of the league.
Get him out of the league! Yeah. Anyway, that's that. So, next question. Oh, that's right. I forgot about Pitt. Dennis Pitta is going to be something you got to keep an eye on, too. That's not easy. Dennis Pitta is good. Really good. Okay. Question number 2. Same guy in Blue Heaven. He asks, do you think Mike would be a good replacement for Roger Goodell?
No.
Oh, come on. No? You don't think so?
No. Only because Mr. Mike, for all his faults and all his weirdness, strangeness, I can't see that man kissing Bob Kraft's you know what, which is what the NFL commissioner has to do. I can't see. I could see if Mike. I could see Mike doing that in like the 1930s when Judge Landis said to the Major League Baseball owners, I'm in charge. You guys have nothing to say whatsoever. But we all know that the NFL commissioner is just a puppet for the owners, and love him or hate him, from that our big man on the radio from 1 to 6, he's not a puppet for anyone except for himself. He's got his own agenda. He would never, even for all that money, listen to Jerry Jones and Al Davis's crazy son and all these nutcases who are the NFL owners.
And I think that honesty is something is commendable for Mike Francesa, but as you said, it is. But it will never work in a professional league. I agree. And
yeah, I mean, as much as people make fun of stuff, yeah, I mean, honesty is pretty much the only thing that I actually care about. I can give a rat's ass about all the rest of the bullshit. You just want someone to tell you the truth, to be honest with you. These other guys who just blow smoke up your ass, I have no use for. And that's pretty much what all these owners and the commissioner are about right now.
You mind if I ask a quick question about that? Blow smoke up your ass. Yeah. It's such a hilarious analogy. What does it really mean, though? Where did they come up with that idea? Like, what is it like to have... okay, hang on. I gotta stand by for a second here. Let's go to the next question first before I get into that. Okay, we will go to the CFCL survey, and all right, I'll just quickly explain what's happening. I was a little embarrassed to use to ask for the explanation for what "smoke up your ass" means because my roommate was just in here, and if he heard me asking a question about what it means to have smoke blown up your ass, it would have been really embarrassing. So anyway, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does it do? Like, you blow smoke in a person's butthole? Like, what is the outcome of that? Does it make is there like pleasure from that? I don't know what the story behind that is. Like, where'd they come up with that idea?
I think you can put. Where do they come up with any of this stuff? I don't know.
I don't either. Does anyone know? Does John and Georgia know? He seems to have the inside info and stuff like. Specifically the ass and blowing, but I mean, like, usually you ask like, what's the origin of such and such? Yeah. And John is usually good with an answer. So
yeah, he's usually the go-to guy who will know about the origins of phrases and cliches and things like that.
Right, exactly. That's what I meant. Although, I mean, but anyway, yeah, I mean, it's just a very strange idiom. So I can Google it too. So I'll Google it too and get an answer for that. Blow smoke up your ass. What does it mean? Why don't we find out? Good old Urban Dictionary has the answer. You ready for this? Okay. So obviously we know what the actual translation is. You tell people what they want to hear. Yeah. But the reason, but what does it come from? And, okay, they're not going to tell me that. Okay, well, where does it come? Yeah, okay, so It's an attempt at resuscitating an apparently drowned person using the modified Dutch method. One resuscitator is assisting respiration by massaging the chest. The fumigator is instilling... okay, we're not going there. We're done. Okay, next first question from the CFCL survey. Here we go. Let's see. So the last question I asked was about, I think it was about a garden. Did I ever ask you the question about a garden? Do you have a garden? That's the next question.
I do not have a garden.
You do not have a garden. I do not have a garden either. That was question 35 from the CFCL survey. So we'll continue. Next question, number 36. Do you really know all the words to the national anthem?
Yes, I do.
And I will say that I do too. I do too. I do indeed. Okay. Hey, how about this? John in Georgia does in fact have an attempt at an answer. He gives us this link. I think it's the same link I had anyway, but I'll look at it. Blowing smoke up your ass used to be literal. Duh. I mean, I guess so. But, okay. So it goes back to the 1700s. This is according to Gizmodo.com. Doctors literally blew smoke up people's rectums. Believe it or not, I know, that's crazy, right? Believe it or not, it was a general mainstream procedure used to, among other things, resuscitate people who were otherwise presumed dead. In fact, it was such a commonly used resuscitation method for drowning victims, particularly, that the equipment used in this procedure was hung alongside major waterways. So you insert a tube up your butt. The tube was connected to a fumigator and a bellows. I don't know what a bellows is. I guess it's a guy, which when oh no, the bellows is an object, which when compressed forced smoke into the rectum. So basically, the smoke kind of gives you a jolt, and you wake up. That's the idea. But where that goes into, trying to please somebody, it's kind of weird. But it doesn't matter at this point. Okay, next question. Question number 37, and I do know the words to the national anthem. As I start to sing the song, the rest of the words usually come into play. And don't get me on the, do you know the second and the third verse? Nobody knows the second and the third verse of the anthem. That's ridiculous. It's such a long song as it is. Anyway, next question. 37. What is the first thing you think of when you wake up? Oh, we did this already. Number 38. We did the famous person, didn't we? Okay. Number 39. We did that one. Number 40. We did that one too. Number 41. Okay, here we go. Finally. Number 41, Junkman. You ready for this? 41.
Yeah.
What time is bedtime for you?
What time is bedtime? I don't have a bedtime. I'm an adult.
All right. So what time do you normally go to bed then? You don't have a set time? You just like go whenever?
I do not have a normal bedtime.
Okay.
Yeah, I go to bed when I'm tired.
Okay, good enough for me.
Sometimes I don't go to bed when I'm tired. Sometimes, there's a lady friend that keeps you up.
I got you. Cool, I got it.
Sometimes you're tired at work, and you go home, and it's 9 o'clock, and you fall asleep. Like I said, I go to bed when I'm tired.
Cool. That's good enough for me, Junkie. We'll move on. Next question. It's a weird one. Have you ever been in a beauty pageant? And they do have beauty pageants for guys. I should just make that clear.
No.
Okay.
Anyone who's ever seen me knows the answer to that question.
That's true. I guess that's a good point. You said that many times.
I got a giant head. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I got a giant head. I'm not very attractive to look at.
Okay. Fair enough. Next question. Number 43 on the CFCL survey. Let me answer this one first, though. Number 43. How many tattoos do you have? And I'll be the square that says I have 0 tattoos. 0. How about you, Junkie?
I have also 0 tattoos.
That's rare. That's rare. How about that? Okay.
Is it? Are we the rare ones?
Feels like it nowadays. Like a lot of people I know have tattoos somewhere.
I'll ask a follow-up random question, Dave, to you. Have you ever thought about getting a tattoo? Have you ever been like sitting in the chair and chickened out?
No, I haven't gone that far. But I definitely thought about it. Not very much, but I've thought about it once in a while.
Right. Yeah, I think you are very much alike in that sense. I've never actually even thought about getting one.
Yeah.
There's never been one sort of impulse ever to get a tattoo.
Oh, no. Impulse, no. Definitely not an impulse, no. I agree. Okay, so to the next question, cfcl.com, number 44 in our 100-question survey. If you don't have any... Oh, we already did this question. You see, the question was, if you don't have any, have you ever thought of getting... In fact, you asked that to me. So we are ahead of them.
Wow.
Yeah. We are ahead of the survey.
I don't even have these this way.
That's true. You're not even on the site. That's pretty good.
I'm always 3 minutes ahead. I'm 3 minutes ahead of everybody else in the world.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Okay, next question. I think you might remember this. What did you do for your last birthday?
I do remember this.
Cool.
I'm not that old, or I'll forget. I worked during my birthday, as usual, but I did manage to catch the sunset on the bay here with a very, 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 very beautiful girl. Just a friend of mine. Nothing weird or insane stuff. But just a completely sweetheart girl that I'm very good friends with. Went down to her place down on the beach and watched the sunset, and it was great. She's absolutely gorgeous and super smart and funny, and it was a fun night, and then went home. But yeah, worked all day and then snuck out right at the end to catch the sunset with her, and it was really cool.
Hey, that's pretty good. That sounds like a romantic night, really. I mean, even with a platonic friend, that's pretty awesome, Junkman.
Yeah, it was. It's more. We've got, I wish it was because she's super hot, but we've gotten to that point where it's more of like a big brother, little sister relationship.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean. I can imagine the implicit frustration with that, but, well, it's better than nothing. Okay, next. That's pretty cool. My last birthday. You know, I know I have good long-term memory. My short-term memory's not great. I can't remember exactly what I did on my birthday. I have, like, wow. I mean, the day of my birthday.
Something to do with food.
Yeah, I think that played into it. Yep, I remember that. I just can't remember specifically what I did that day. And what day of the week it was, too. Like, was that... Well, I had a party with my sister, but it wasn't on the day of my birthday, I don't think. My sister is born on the 21st. I'm born on the 23rd. But we're born, like, many years apart. But in terms of the date of the month, it's like a couple days apart. So we have a nice party. Okay. We had this party, and I think what I remember is that my uncle brought in like a little bottle of this extremely hot sauce of spiciness, really spicy. And so we put in this guacamole, and I was eating it. And everybody started gathering around me. I was like, eating this chip with a guacamole on it, and it was this extremely spicy sauce. And I remember I was okay for like 2 bites, and it started getting me to a little bit, and then I started reaching for the milk and going for the water. It was like on the edge of their seat. They were like, oh, is he gonna make it? And I made it okay, but my mom was like upset. Like she was like, why did you do that? This is all at my parents' house because we had this big party for the two of us and some others. So I remember that. I don't remember precisely whether that was on the day of my birth, but it was the weekend of. Do you know what I mean? Like it was on the same weekend. Or the weekend around that time. Okay. All right, Junkman, you still with us? Just double checking to make sure our connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is good.
No, look, just listen to the story. Sometimes, see, Dave, sometimes I get lost in your stories and I just listen.
Okay, no problem. I'm most happy that the connection hasn't really had any signs of dying off. It shows that this new format or this new system is great because it really sounds great. I am hearing you way better than I've heard you before, and that was also true of the Oat Man in our first hour. Like I was hearing everything so clearly, and so this is.
And the same way for you. I've heard you you're more clear now than you've ever been.
That's great. That is really great. So we're gonna keep the system the way it is, then. And you know what? It means I can cancel my Skype account if I can go a month like this. There's no reason for me to have Skype, or at least not a paid account. So I will probably just cancel the subscription I have. The subscription is $3 a month. It's not very much, but it would still be nice to like just excise that, and not have to worry about it anymore. So very good. One question in from In Blue Heaven before we return to our survey. He asks, what is a good fall-themed album or movie? Or even like a movie or album that you like to hear or see during the fall? Is there anything that really fits the fall well?
Oh, well, the fall to me was getting a little colder, a little darker. Winter's coming. Fall to always me, it's been like, kind of like the Black Crowes or the Allman Brothers, maybe. It's just a little kind of, it's not like that summer feel. It's a little more, button up the shirt. It's getting a little colder. Grab your girl, a little closer. But I don't know as much about movies as I do about music, so I don't know if there's really like a fall movie that I go to.
Okay. I can't really think of any fall-specific movies. I can think of Christmas movies. I can think of maybe summer movies. Fall is interesting. I'm like, so because I'm not thinking about movies and music at that time, and any music album I like it all the time. Like I wouldn't specifically listen to it only in this particular season. The exception would be Christmas and other holiday music. That I would listen to pretty much in December, and that's all. But otherwise, I don't have anything in particular that is like a fall movie or a fall album. I'd have to think about that some more. So maybe I'll get back to you guys on that. All right, next question from In Blue Heaven. How many Major League Baseball parks have you been to? And now, well, let's get your answer. How many MLB baseball parks have you been to?
Oh, I can probably do that pretty quick. 1, 2, 3. 4, 8. I'd say I'm gonna say 12 off the top of my head. I'm trying to count, but the safe number would be 12. How about you?
That's almost half the league. That's pretty good. I've been.
Yeah, I wish I was one of those. I always wished I was in a situation where I could take a summer off and see them all, But, well, I mean, pretty much all the East Coast ones, including Pittsburgh and Cincinnati and Atlanta, Coors Field. As you know, I lived in Denver for a while.
Yep.
I want to say 11 or 12 is probably the number for me.
That's pretty awesome, though. That's a good number. I think a lot of guys.
Oh, Kansas. That was one of my favorites.
Oh,
Kansas City.
wow.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Ooh, Kansas City. I really like to see that one. I've only been to 4. Man, maybe not even 4. I think I've been. No, it's been 4. San Francisco, AT&T. I have been. Candlestick, I haven't been in it, so I guess that won't count. So, and even if I was, it wouldn't count anyway because the Giants weren't there by then. So AT&T, Dodger Stadium, go there a lot. Petco Park in San Diego, and Angel Stadium of Anaheim. So those are the 4 I've been to, and I've not been to.
So you're pretty much all left coast, you know.
Yeah. I'm not even close to 12, so I really want to see more than that. Oh no, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have a slight adjustment to make to that.
What about Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, exactly.
You were there like a week ago?
Yeah, I was. I was there about a couple months ago. So, 4 plus 3 more.
Well, see, you and I can say I've been to the Yankee Stadium, but it wasn't the same one that you were at.
Well, I've been to both. I've been to the old one and the new one. So that's 2.
Oh, nice.
And I went to Shea Stadium, so that's 3. 3 more.
Oh, so you're at 6.
I'm up to 7. I'm up to 7. I got the 4 West Coast places, and then not those places. That's more than. That's right. I forgot about that. I ended up going to more of them than I thought. So right, that's right. I've actually got 7 under the belt. 2 of them don't exist anymore, but it's still I've been to 7 of them, so it's pretty cool. Okay, so the follow-up to this is simple. The follow-up question from IBH is, are there any that you would like to visit that you haven't seen yet?
Sadly, no, because I've seen. I'm trying to think if there's something that sticks out, because I've been to Wrigley Field, I've been to Fenway Park. Those are the. No, I don't. I mean, nothing jumps out at me. Maybe you can. I mean, if there's some really great, cool park that just opened, but no, I've been to, like I said, 11, 12, or 13 of them. There's nothing that stands out that I'd want to have to go see. I don't need to see. I know St. Louis is probably cool. That's one of the ones I've never been to. I know Seattle is supposed to be awesome, but there's nothing that I would have to go see.
I gotcha. San Diego it winds up being pretty nice. I wouldn't say that people would necessarily have to go out of their way, but if you're in town, I'd definitely recommend it. It is a very nice place. Not terribly crowded all the time, but pretty good and a great view. Like you go there and you can see the entire Gaslamp Quarter and most of downtown San Diego. It's pretty awesome. Like the view from the seats, pretty good. Places I would recommend, and also simultaneously, these are places I want to go to. Wrigley. Since I was young, I've wanted to just see what it looks like. It probably will wind up, for me, being a bit of a letdown, because I think the overwhelming feeling I think I'm going to get is old. More than any other feeling, old will be the feeling I get. Fenway I'd like to see just to get the real picture of how small and intimate the place is. I'd like to go to Camden Yards. I'd like to go to Safeco. Is it still called Safeco? The one in Seattle. And I want to go to Chase Field because it's fascinating. It's all indoors it's retractable roof, but most of the time it's an indoor facility. It's huge, but it's got some tremendous facilities, I'm told. So I like to check that out. I'd like to go to PNC Park. Many people have said such good things about it, and it also has a great view. And then moving down the line, let's think. I mean, PNC is definitely up there. I think it's a really neat looking place. I mean, the ballpark in Arlington is nice, but I don't really feel like there's anything making me urge to go there. Like, I'd go there if I was around, but I probably wouldn't make a trip to it. St. Louis is nice, but again, same ideas. Like, you know, I mean, it's a nice park, and for sure it's really nice and everything, but if I'm around, I'll go. If I'm not, probably not. At Kansas City, there you go. That's the other one. So, there's about a half dozen of them that I really do want to check out someday. And there it is, yeah. Wrigley, Fenway, Camden, PNC, Kauffman, Chase. Did I miss? What was the other one? I think that's it. So there we go. Oh, and Safeco, yeah. So that's number 7. Okay. Great. Junkie, when you retire and I retire, let's go on that trip. We'll tour the entire league. Yeah?
We could take our spaceship and drive around.
Yeah. Okay. Great. All right. Up next, we'll go back to the CFCL survey. 10 minutes left in our show. 11 minutes. Okay, we'll say 11 minutes. Now, question 46. Do you carry a donor card? Donor card. I forgot about what specifically they're referring to, but do you carry?
They probably mean, are you an organ donor, like on your driver's license?
Yeah.
Say you're an organ donor.
You're right. It's a sticker, right? A sticker goes on the driver's license, so it's not a special card. It's your regular card.
Usually, yeah. Yeah, usually it goes right on your driver's license.
So, do you have that? Do you have a donor thingamajig on there?
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool.
I do.
Cool. You know, I marked down that I'm a donor, that I'm a would-be donor, and I never really considered that very carefully. I'm thinking, oh, ethically, am I going to be okay with like my liver going to somebody else? I think at the end of the day, I would be. Yeah, saved a life. I'd be down.
Of course you would. Of course you would. That you're going to be. Yeah, you would save someone else's life. How is that even a thought? Of course you would do that.
Yeah. I think it's very sensible, and certainly worthwhile. And you know, it's kind of like anything. If something breaks down, you'd want to give it to someone else and let them use the parts. Why not? Okay, up next, question number 47. We're almost halfway done. Who was the last person?
Nice.
It is. I'm looking forward to being halfway done too. Who was the last person you ate dinner with, for real?
You mean for real? Like you have dinner with
Well, you know,
people
because
for
like
fake?
a few questions ago, we asked about if you could find a famous person to have dinner with. So the question here is, who did you actually have dinner with last in real life?
Wednesday night. Well, this sounds kind of like a lame answer, but Wednesday night's always I always take my staff out to dinner night. So I had dinner with my staff tonight.
Not bad, not bad. I like it. I don't think eating dinner at home with your roommate qualifies, right? Because you're like just watching TV. Does that even count? I guess it could count.
No, that doesn't count.
Yeah, but I don't think it counts.
No, you have to go out. You have to go out.
Yeah, right. You got to go out. I agree with that. You got to go out. So the last person I ate dinner with then was a lady friend of mine on Friday. So there you go.
Nice.
Not bad. Similar scenario to you in
Yeah.
Sunset, though. Platonic, not serious relationship, whatever. But it was still a night out on a Friday, and it was great. So I had a good time. Okay, next question.
Nice.
Yeah, I agree. It was pretty nice. It was cool. It had burgers. It was a good time. Next question. Is the glass half empty or half full?
Neither. It's a half a
Don't
glass
do
of water.
that. That's a cop-out. If you had to choose one, what would you choose?
It's a half a glass of water.
Oh, all right. You're not going to give it to me. All right. Very well.
I'm a realist, Dave. I'm a realist. You know that. I'm a realist.
All right.
I'm looking at half a glass of water.
All right. I am looking at a empty glass of water. There's nothing in it. There was water in it. Now it's gone, so it's empty at this point. Question number, and I don't know. I'll just say I'm not going to show my hand either if Junkie isn't. So next question, 49 from the CFCL survey. What's the farthest away place you've been? All right, Kevin. How about it?
farthest away place, you mean like from where I am right now?
Yeah.
A lot of places are pretty far. I mean, I'm as far out in the east as you can imagine, so I'm pretty far out now. The farthest away place. From here, I mean, I told a story a long time ago. I spent 6 months in the mountains of Mexico when I was 20 years old. That's pretty far away from here.
Gotcha. Cool. I remember some of those stories you were talking about, some wild adventures there, so not bad. I've been to Mexico too, maybe not in the mountains so much, but I've been to Mexico in the past, years and years ago now. The furthest place I've been was Hawaii. That was 3,000 miles, but in the other direction. Technically speaking, you could say that either New York or Hawaii was like the same distance. But the reason I think of Hawaii as the furthest away is because it's far detached from the mainland too. Like, it's not connected really. It's almost its own world. So I consider that to be the furthest away I've been from home.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone who's been to Hawaii, that's their answer. I mean, it's so far away.
It is really far. I mean, just imagine a red-eye flight, or just imagine a flight from coast to coast, but and then do it again. That's how far you are away from the rest of the USA. So it's far. It's very far. Okay. Next question. Have you ever won a trophy? And I think even qualification trophies will be acceptable for this answer. Have you won any kind of trophy?
Oh, like when I was a kid?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Okay. Me too.
Absolutely.
Cool. That's a good answer. All right. Not bad at all. No, sir. Now we have a chatter. Is this right? Yeah. Our friend in Blue Heaven's been to India. Well, that trumps both of us. That's really far. That's really far away. Kudos, man. That must have been cool. Probably adventurous, certainly, but cool. I like it. All right, next question. So we got up to this is number 50, and just
nice.
And so we finally reached the halfway point of the survey, and since we're running out of time, this will be our last question of the evening. When's the last time you ate a homegrown tomato?
What the hell's a homegrown tomato?
It's a tomato that does not come from a factory. Like, you go to someone's house and they have a garden and they have tomatoes there, or you go to a restaurant that does their own tomatoes in the back. That all qualifies. So.
But how do I know that? How do I know that if the deli that I go to has homegrown tomatoes?
No, you don't.
I don't know.
You can't use that. You can't use
that.
It
tastes good.
You just have to go with what you remember, like what you know about. So, like, you've been to a friend's house and they have a bunch of tomatoes, and can you think of a time?
Right. So if we're going on your explanation, I have no idea. I don't think I've ever had a homegrown tomato.
Okay.
I've never seen tomatoes. But...
Okay. I can't remember. I think maybe my grandmother had planted some tomatoes once, and my dad's family, I don't really even know if that's. I didn't even know if that was tomatoes. So I don't know. I don't know when I last had a homegrown tomato. So I guess we're going to be in the dark on that one. That's a tough call. Well, we made it through the hour very nicely. I am very pleased with how technically this program went, and also spiritually and creatively, the program was quite a success. So, Kevin, thank you again for being a part of it. Any plans for you this weekend?
No, I'm just working. Actually, that's not even true at all. My mother is actually getting married this weekend. So
get out of here! Your mom? That's great. Congratulations. You're slipping this by me like it's nothing. It's a huge story. Huge. So you going back to New York?
It is a story. I know. I'm the worst to blow it off like that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said it like that. So I do have plans for this weekend.
That's great. That's a huge plan. You went from like no
Yeah,
plans
big,
to amazing plans.
Yeah, I actually took, a whole
90
two and a half days
seconds.
off,
Yeah.
which is even bigger.
Wow. Well, send my best to your mom. That's fantastic. I mean, best of luck to her, best wishes, and all of that. I mean, enjoy. That's, wow, fantastic. Enjoy the wedding, sir. Please do.
I will.
Great.
What do you guys going for the week?
I've got some time. I'm going to be joining some of my swim club colleagues at what we believe is a Speedo video shoot.
60 seconds.
Really?
Yeah, seriously, it's like part of it's part of like a website feature they're going to do about master swimming, and so they invited people from our club to get together, and then they'll even wardrobe us with like swimwear and everything, and we're going to just do a feature for the website. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I'm getting in shape too.
Yeah.
A little better. A little better. It should be a good time. Your wedding goes too. That's pretty awesome. So.
Yeah, I guess. Take
All
care.
right. All right,
Go on.
Okay.
Next weekend.
All right, buddy. We'll do. Gotcha. That's Kevin. Can't find David. We